Parshas Beshalach Shabbos Shira Tov Pei Gimel. And when we say Shabbos Shira, where has the time gone? Shabbos Shira, this Monday is going to be Tu B'Shvat, which means a month to Purim, 2 months to Pesach. Somehow the whole winter got by us. I mean, most of the winter, although this weekend they're saying for supposed to be about 0 degrees tomorrow night. We haven't had any snow this year, so some of us forget that usually there's such a thing called winter that we go through every year, and shoveling and plowing snow. None of it this year. Shabbos Shira, for some reason I always start to think about, right, the birds and spring, and maybe it's on the way. Beautiful word from the Nesivos Shalom. This week, Kriyas Yamsuf, one of the most fascinating nisim that took place for Klal Yisrael when they left Mitzrayim. And the Noam Elimelech in the Likutei Shoshana tells us something very interesting. There's a pasuk in our parsha that says, "Uvenei Yisrael holchu bayabasha b'soich hayom." That Klal Yisrael, once Kriyas Yamsuf started, they went into the Yamsuf, right? Halchu bayabasha b'soich hayom. They walked on the dry land inside the Yamsuf. The Yamsuf, everything as we know, once Nachshon ben Aminadav jumped into the Yamsuf, it dried up and they walked through the Yamsuf. So they walked on the dry land. So obviously, when Bnei Yisrael crossed the Yamsuf, they saw tremendous nisim. They saw tremendous miracles. And they saw the godless Hashem that was very, very, extremely l'mayla miderech hateva, right? Imagine you're walking through an ocean, you're walking through the sea, and there's walls of water, and everything dries up, and you're able to walk through. They saw nisim, unbelievable nisim. Says the Nesivos Shalom that there are tzaddikim and great people that live their lives this way. The Noam Elimelech tells us, brought down the Nesivos Shalom, there are tzaddikim who live with this greatness throughout all of their lives. That even when they are by Yabasha, the pasuk tells us, "Uvenei Yisrael halchu bayabasha b'soich hayom." There are tzaddikim and yidden who understand the way the world really runs, and even when they're in the bayabasha, even when they're on dry land, they're not standing in the middle of the sea. It seems like it's a regular day. You're walking on dry land. Your life is going regular. They understand b'soich hayom. Even when they're not standing in the middle of the Yamsuf, they're standing on dry land, they understand that even that, in everyday life, when things seem regular, we still see, we should see, and feel the greatness of Hashem. And the people, the Bnei Yisrael of that generation, they had that milah. They understood, they were halchu bayabasha b'soich hayom. They understand that not only is it a great nace, and of course it was a fantastically great nace when they were crossing the Yamsuf, but they also understood bayabasha when they're living, when they wake up in the morning and everything seems like it's a regular day, it's as if b'soich hayom. What about the fact that you woke up that morning and you're breathing and you're walking? Don't take that for granted. It's a tremendous miracle. It's a tremendous nace, and that's what it means. Halchu bayabasha, when things are regular life, b'soich hayom. It's as if they were mamish having the sea split for them at that moment. They walked through the dry land the way they felt in the Yamsuf. They understand, they saw, and they appreciated that there are constant daily miracles, and everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does for us is a nace, is a miracle. But then Nesivos Shalom asks, really, let's try to understand this for a moment. The miracles of Kriyas Yamsuf were things that were one time in history things. It happened at Kriyas Yamsuf. They never happened before, and they never happened again. Hopefully one day, Meretz Hashem, one day soon, when Mashiach comes, we're going to see great Nisim that are going to make the Nisim of Mitzrayim pale in comparison. But until that point, Kriyas Yamsuf was a one-time in history thing. And as Chazal tell us that a shifcha alayam, a maidservant at the Yamsuf, at Kriyas Yamsuf, saw things that even Yechezkel HaNavi in his greatness was not able to see in his lifetime. The Nisim they saw at that moment were unbelievable. So how is it that a person can carry that over to the Abasha? Very tough thing. Carry that. Try to compare a one time in a life, in a history kind of thing that happened, Nace, translate it over to Yabasha and live with this kind of feeling going through life. Another thing we need to understand, says in Nesivos Shalom, the Maimer Chazal, very famous Maimer Chazal, Sechta Psochim, Daf Kuf Yud Ches, Amar Aleph, Koshe Parnososoi Shel Odom Kriyas Yamsuf. Parnosa of a person, and of course, Kaviyachal, we're talking about HaKadosh, we're speaking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu over here. Nothing is hard, koshe, in the way that we understand hard. But the Maimer Chazal is still there. Koshe Parnososoi Shel Odom Kriyas Yamsuf. For HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whatever difficult Kriyas Yamsuf was, the parnasa of every person is in the same way kosher. The same way we have another Gemara, famous Gemara, Masechta Soita, Daf Beis Amar Aleph. The Gemara tells us, kosher zivugoi shel adam kekriyas yamsuf. This parnasa is, quote, difficult, and so are shidduchim. Zivugoi shel adam, shidduchim for people, also kosher kekriyas yamsuf, however difficult it was there, the same, quote, difficult, it's there for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we have the same question that we asked before about kriyas yamsuf. Parnosa and shidduchim are part and parcel of our daily lives. Things that we have to do and live with, and we go through every single day. And kriyas yamsuf, like we said, is a one-time occurrence, is an unreal event that was extraordinary, and it only happened once. And once again, how are we comparing shidduchim that seemingly happen every day, parnasa of people go to work, people, as we know that work, of course, is not as so, we make our ishtadlus, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends parnasa to a person every day. How do we compare this great one-time occurrence of kriyas yamsuf to parnasa and shidduchim? So the Nesivos Shalom says we need to look a little bit at this world of l'mayla miderech hateva. We know, we mentioned by kriyas yamsuf, everything was l'mayla miderech hateva. Obviously, not normal occurrences. But the entire Yetzias Mitzrayim, be'emes, really was this idea of l'mayla miderech hateva. All the makkahs that happened to Paroi, the Mitzrayim, they were far l'mayla miderech hateva. There was nothing normal about the makkahs. So we can really ask, why couldn't Hashem just put in the heart of Paroi, let's go. He tells his servants, let's go, let's expel Klal Yisrael from Mitzrayim. We would have had Yetzias Mitzrayim. The makkahs, we had to go through all the makkahs, changing water into blood and frogs in the ovens, and every single makkah, one after the other, was so out of the ordinary. Why couldn't HaKadosh Baruch Hu just say, listen, Paroi, you know what's good for you? You wake up in the morning and you tell Klal Yisrael, get out of Mitzrayim. But it didn't happen that way. We had to have all the miracles and all the fanfare. And if you think about it, every step of the way from Mitzrayim to Eretz Yisrael was that way. Look at our parsha a little bit further in the parsha of the man. The parsha of the man, the food, the man had to fall from the sky, and there was an ace before Shabbos, double. I mean, it could have happened Al pi derech hateva. There could have been food stands along the road, hot dog stands. I don't know where you find those in the midbar, but there could have been food growing somehow. They could have gotten off an exit, maybe bought some food. But yet Hashem had to send man min hashamayim every day. And what led them in the midbar? The Anani Yaakov. Anani Yaakov. Why couldn't they just have ways? And no, had to go, right? Anani Yaakov. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with a cloud and a fire, everything, nothing was normal about anything. Everything was l'mayla miderech hateva. Says in Nesivos Shalom that all of this is a message that's being delivered to us, to Klal Yisrael then and to us in every generation about who we are as a people. That when HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose us to be the Am HaNivchar, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose us to be His chosen nation, He also wanted us to be chosen in a different way. He wanted us to exist completely l'mayla miderech hateva. We all know the history of the Jewish people for the past few thousand years. L'mayla miderech hateva. We shouldn't be here. Everybody wanted to kill Klal Yisrael coming up to a Purim, right? Or the next Purim in a month from now. So many things, so many times throughout history, Klal Yisrael lives l'mayla miderech hateva. So Hashem made it, starting from Yetzias Mitzrayim, that Yetzias Mitzrayim and Kriyas Yamsuf and our travels in the Midbar, everything was l'mayla miderech hateva. The Ramban tells us at the end of Parshas Boy that a yesod of the entire Torah for us is that we need to believe that our lives as Yidden, our lives as Jews, are full of miracles. Nothing is regular. Nothing about our lives is regular. And that if we have to understand that if we do the mitzvahs, then we'll be zoicha to all the good miracles. You want siyata d'shmaya, you want nisim in your life, then you follow the mitzvahs. Our lives are miracles, and doing the mitzvahs and being shomerei Torah mitzvahs is what brings those miracles to us. Sometimes they're open miracles, and sometimes they are hidden miracles. And the Ramban says that one who does not believe that everything in your life is a miracle, it says a very strong lashon in the Ramban, that ein la'adam chelek b'Torah Moshe Rabbeinu. A person is a kaifer. You're a kaifer. The Ramban says it's kfira if you don't believe that every step of the way, every day, everything that you do is a miracle. Not just the way a yid exists. That we know, that goes without saying. But every single part of your life is a miracle. So of course nothing is kosher to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Nothing is hard. But by Kriyas Yamsuf, the Midas Hadin was coming to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and saying, look, the Mitzrim are oiv the Avodah Zarah, Klal Yisrael is oiv the Avodah Zarah, they're not performing the mitzvahs, they don't deserve to have Kriyas Yamsuf. And the same thing, it comes with everything in our life. Do we really deserve that parnasa? Do we really deserve that shidduch? But no, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that we're going to live l'mayla miderech hateva existence, where our actions matter. We have to understand that the animals, goyim also, other umas ha'olam, they receive their parnasa without a cheshbon. Hashem supports everything. But for us, we live with the Torah. We live l'mayla miderech hateva, that if we follow the Torah, we're zoicha and we get, and if we don't follow the Torah, then unfortunately we will not get. And that's the idea of Kriyas Yamsuf and Shidduchim and Parnasa, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying that everything, it's all the same, l'mayla miderech hateva. There's so much more to be said on this subject, and Nesivos Shalom goes through a whole arichas, but we have a time frame that we have for our shir. We're going to have to end the shir right now. Maybe we'll continue this a different week, but this is the beautiful lesson. To learn this week, Kriyas Yamsuf is l'mayla miderech hateva, and so is everything else in our life. From the time we wake up in the morning, through our entire lives, we live as Yidden, l'mayla miderech hateva.